And hello there. Welcome to Fire Basics. This is our session, our workshop for August 10th, 2022. I'm Dr. Brenda. Thanks so much for joining us. Hey, if you're new to this, let me give you a little bit of a heads up. This is a recording of the presentation only. I do that for several reasons. First of all, to give you the freedom to speak your mind during our live sessions, and nothing is recorded. You can talk about your personal circumstances and know that that information is held in confidence. Another reason is because I do travel and sometimes I have technical glitches. This way you get the full recording without any glitches. And again, another reason is to streamline this. You get right to the information, no distractions. Let's get right into it. I know your time is valuable and precious, so let's start with FiRE Basics. Now, this is all started from the book called Your Money or Your Life. This is the 2018 version. The original came out in 1992 by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez, and the abbreviated version of what they talked about is FiRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early. So the idea is you will build up enough finances so you never have to work again. If you want to retire, you can. Financial independence, retire early. Now, my first question for you is, how familiar are you with FiRE? That helps me know in advance how to proceed through my presentation, things I might be able to skip. If you're really advanced, maybe you want to ask some questions and we'll go into the charts more, or into the nitty-gritties. So this is all, I take my cue from you. You're familiar with it, we'll do one thing. We're unfamiliar with it, we'll do another. So this is a quote. It's, money is something you trade your life energy for. You sell your time for money. The only real asset you have is your time, the hours of your life. And that's by Vicki Robin. So there's this trade-off. You can continue working longer and longer hours and making more money, but every time you do that, you're trading in some of your life energy. And really, honestly, the most precious commodity we have is our time, the hours of our life. So that's sort of the meaning behind it, that the more money you want, you've got a price to pay for it, typically. So where is that balance? Okay, so the question becomes, how much money do you need? And what's the cost of that money? So if you think you need $3 million and you're up every morning at 5 a.m. and hustling and working all day and missing out on life, and maybe not having a very good lifestyle, there's a big cost to that $3 million. So that again is that balance. How much money do you need? Do you really need? And what's the cost of that money? What is the stress that invokes on you physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually? So we're going to talk about the conventional advice. So the conventional advice in terms of how much money you need is all based on these assumptions made about retirement. Retirement is, yes, you're not going to work anymore. You're going to just live off of everything that you've earned, and learned. And financial independence is the same thing. The idea is you've got your financial independence and now you don't need to work. So the conventional advice is based on the tendency of most Americans to spend most of their paychecks. So if you were to go to a financial advisor, and this is really actually a pretty good test as to where they start with, but a lot of financial advisors, the first thing they might ask you is your income. How much money do you make each year? Okay. So the assumptions made after they find out your income is that you're probably going to need about 80%, sometimes Some people estimate 75%, some say 90, some say you need 100% of your income as your replacement income when you retire. Very common, it is 80%, so that is the figure we're going to use. And I'm going to show you in the next slide how this all works out in terms of your money. But the first thing is that replacement value. I'm going to need 80% of my income after I retire. Then I know that I can safely withdraw 4%, 3%, 3% for sure, 4% probably, of those funds without running out of my money. And then I'm going to do some reverse math. So if I want to withdraw 4%, I need to take my income replacement by 25. If I'm looking at a 3% withdrawal, I multiply it by 33. Whew. Sounds complicated. It really isn't. So let's walk through this using your income. So I'd love for you to take out a piece of paper and a little calculator or your app on your phone, Excel spreadsheet, whatever you've got handy. And let's walk through an example. So how much do you need? Start with what's your income? Now multiply that by 80%, by 0.8. That's your replacement value. Take that replacement value, multiply it by 25. That's what you need at the 4% withdrawal rate. So I'm going to use this character for our example, and I'm just going to call her Ms. G. Okay, and we're going to work with Ms. G throughout this entire presentation. So let's get to know her. So Ms. G goes to a financial advisor, goes to a retirement expert, and says, how much do I need? And he says, well, what's your income? I'm making $100,000. You're probably going to need about 80% of that, or $80,000. Now, to get $80,000 annually, let's multiply that by 25. You probably need to save about $2 million. Okay? So Ms. G, boy, if she's early in her career, $2 million sounds like a pretty heavy lift, doesn't it? But that is the conventional advice that she might receive. So let's go through the assumptions. The first assumption is the more money you earn, the more you need. So let's take Ms. G at 3 different scenarios. First scenario, she's making $50,000. Second is $100,000. Third, $150,000. So under this conventional advice, the math, if she's making $50,000, she's going to need at least $40,000 to, replace when she retires. So 40,000 times 25, she's going to need that $1 million. Grow her income to 100,000. Now suddenly her replacement needs are 80,000, and the amount she needs to save is $2 million. Give her that salary of 150,000. Now her replacement value goes all the way up to $120,000, and she's got to save $3 million. So this is Ms. G. Ms. G is the same person. Okay, this could be 3 different jobs, 3 different salaries. It could be raises, but you can see that the more that she makes, the more that we expect, that the advisors expect her to need. Okay, so that's the first assumption on that conventional advice part. The second assumption of the retirement planners are that you earn nothing after you leave the workforce. So it's an on-off switch. You're working, you got that fantastic income, and you drop to zero. You got nothing. And again, ask yourself if that is really fitting somebody who wants to reach financial independence in their 30s, 40s, or 50s. Can we really expect them to earn nothing? Might they have some other income coming in? But that is the second assumption in that traditional how much do you need model. How much do you need? The third assumption is that you can withdraw no more than 3% or 4% of those funds. And you're going to draw those down every single year. Doesn't matter how well the economy performs or how poor it is, you're still going to withdraw that same percentage of your assets every year. You don't have flexibility. Okay. So those are three assumptions. And to me, it makes you feel like you're living on a hamster wheel. It's this wheel you can't get off because you're dealing with lifestyle creep. Oh, now I'm making $100,000. Now I need a bigger house. Now I need a better car. Now I need to save even more. I'm never going to get off that hamster wheel because I got to work more because now I need more. The other part of that hamster wheel is the pressures of society. We define success. We have this sort of idea. You go to college, you get your degree, maybe you get a advanced degree, you get a great profession, uh, buy that car, get the house, maybe add a spouse, get a family, build your income, get your promotions, get those job titles that just, wow, that person is a fill in the blank. Isn't that cool? Well, that's how society very often measures success. So they'll look at your job title and your income. It's all about appearances. And that just feeds you into doing more and more and more. And if you buy into that, you're never going to have enough money. You're never going to have enough income. You're never going to have just the right job title. You are going to be spinning on that hamster wheel. Um, the other thing about all of this, as it applies to work, is, Vicki Robin talks about that work and that time conundrum. What are the costs of working one more year, 5 more years, 10 more years? What are the costs on you of maintaining that high level position of doing everything you're supposed to do? Are you going to get burned out? Are you able to take care of yourself physically? Are you losing out on relationships because you're so busy with work? Are you stressed out? Are you worried all the time? Are you anxious? Because you're dependent on that high income? Do you worry about what happens if my job ends? Yeah, I'm making big money, but I got nothing saved. What is that cost to you of staying in a job, especially one that is stressful, that you might not like so much? What are the personal costs to you? So that's a big question. That's one of the big things about FI, financial independence, is about that trade-off. How much of your life energy is it worth to get a little bit more money? Now, to pause for a little bit, because I talked about the conventional evidence, the conventional wisdom, the traditional stuff you're going to hear. I want to ask you if you're ready to defy that notion of conventional wisdom. Are you ready to carve out a life of your own, one that is unique to you? So we do have all of these expectations on us. So to tell somebody, you know what, I'm going to work until I'm financially independent, and then at the age of 50, I'm just I'm gonna leave my job. I'm gonna travel around the world. I'm gonna start giving back. I'm gonna volunteer. Maybe I'll get a little job that helps pay for health insurance. I mean, really, how are people gonna look at you? Or, like, you know what? I don't need this big fancy house. I'm not throwing dinner parties. I can, afford to live in this condo. I'm going to buy this rental property. I'm going to rent out 3 units. That's going to pay my rent plus, going to give me passive income. And I'm living in this fourth unit. So it is about defying those expectations. And this is partly why I call this Gutsy Women Finances, because it really is about you doing what speaks to you, following through on your dreams and on the wishes of your heart, not what society tells you need to do. So just be ready for some pushback. If you decide to jump into the financial independence world, there's going to be some pushback. Not everybody's going to understand. So the bottom line is the conventional advice doesn't work for unconventional people. So let's talk about unconventional people. Let's talk about financial independence and the truths behind FI. Okay, your first truth, the first FI. This may throw everything on its head for you, okay? But it's true. Your income has nothing to do with your retirement needs. I'm going to say it again. Your income has nothing to do with your retirement needs. So let's take a look at Ms. G. Remember, she's got that three different scenarios: income of 50,000, 100,000, 150,000. That conventional advice has her needing at least 80% of that. So it keeps moving the bar up. Now, with FI, it's all about logic. You know what? It's all about the expenses. Everything is based on that expense figure. So let's say at $50,000, her expenses are $40,000. Miss G needs $1,000,000. Let's say she's got an income of 100,000. Her annual expenses are still at 40,000. Her needs, $1,000,000. Her income is 150,000. Her annual expenses at 40,000. Her needs, $1,000,000, guys. $1,000,000. So it is all based on her expenses. And now imagine if she's making $150,000 and has expenses of 40,000, where is all that other money going? Where's the other 110,000 going? Imagine how quickly Miss G can leave that workforce. Just imagine. So that is truth number one under our financial independence program. Second truth is, not everybody does this. You're motivated, you're ambitious, you've got dreams, you are resourceful. So you are resourceful enough to build income streams. Maybe you've got some passive income. Maybe you're going to have an Etsy store and have some money coming in. Maybe you've got a book. Maybe you're into rental properties, all sorts of things. This world is so open to building income streams. Even if you don't choose to do that, you know that you have skills that you can sell. So let's say you want to take 3 years off, travel around the world, and you know that in 3 years, you can still come back and earn about the same amount of money. You can still make money. So you're resourceful. That is the second big truth of FI. Financial independence, FI truth number 3. Your withdrawal rate is flexible. You have control over your withdrawal rate, okay? So if there's a fantastic year, your assets grow by 6 figures, you don't need to withdraw 3% or 4%. Maybe you only need to withdraw 2% that year. There's another year that comes by, inflation is high, so you see your expenses going up, and the economy, your stock market's not doing well. Maybe you need to withdraw a little bit more. But again, remember, you're resourceful. So you have a down year, maybe you can fill that in with some other income. But you have control over how much you're taking out every year. Okay, remember that. So those are the big truths that in the world of FI tell you how much money you need. Okay? FI math. FI math, 2 figures, 2 things you got to do. Okay? FI math couldn't be easier. Your expenses. You're going to estimate your expected annual post-work expenses. Yep, I got a typo in there. I'll fix that in the live version. And the second thing you're going to do, we'll just start at that 4% withdrawal rates. You're going to multiply those expenses by 25. Now, I'm going to get you this PDF. It's going to be, you can download it. There is a really great link in it. You're going to be able to click on that link. So don't worry about getting all this information down. And if you're going to calculate for a 3% withdrawal, you're just going to multiply by 33. That's it, guys. FI math. Expenses multiply by 25. That's it. That is it. Okay, so remember, we're going to go back to that. We had the conventional piece of wisdom, which asked you about your income. This is the FI approach. So again, if you've got a piece of paper and a pen and a little calculator, I want you to write down what you think your expenses are going to be. Just give us a ballpark figure. And it's going to vary for each person. So, for instance, maybe I want to retire after I've paid off the mortgage. Maybe I'm gung-ho, I'm paying down that mortgage in 10 years. My expenses are going to go way down when that's all paid for. Or maybe my expenses are going to go high because I'm living kind of frugally and I want to travel. But have an idea in your head of how much money you're going to need if you were to leave the workforce. What would be your annual expenses? Okay, think about it. Don't get too complicated here. Don't get too complicated. Come on back to me. Just get an estimate. Multiply that number by 25. That's what you need to withdraw 4%. Multiply it by 33 so you get an idea of what it's like if you want to withdraw at 3%. Here's Miss G again. This is the example. So let's say she figures, I can get by pretty easily with spending about $5,000 a month. That's $60,000 a year. Okay. And so I'm going to take that 60,000 multiplied by 25. I need about $1.5 million. 33, add the 3%. I need just under 2 million, 1.98 million bucks. So that's an example of how you might use that. So again, think about your expenses and what they might be. Okay. I love this chart. I love this chart. Where was this chart when I was 30, 35, 40? Where was this chart? Wow, what a difference it would have made. This is the number of years until financial independence. Let me take you through how you read this. So the columns going down, the 40, 50, 60K going down is your annual income after taxes. Your rows, rows going across is your spending. So I have this color coded in red, orange, yellow, and green. And we're just going to go to the $100,000 column. Okay. That's your income after taxes. We're just going to go through it because 100,000 is a very easy number to work with. If you're spending $90,000 of that, you got to work for over 51 years, 51.4 years until you reach financial independence. So, think about that. You're saving 10% of your after-tax income. That's, some people advise you to do that. Great, go ahead and do that and then work for 51 more years. Okay, so I got those in the red, 40 or more years are in the red. Now let's say I got that $100,000 income. I am spending $80,000. So now my savings rate goes up to 20%. Going to work for 36.7 years. Okay, still, if you started at 30, that means, okay, still got to work till I'm 66.7. Now, $100,000, you're going to spend $70,000. Your time in the workforce goes down to 28 years. You're spending $60,000, goes down to 21.6. I want you to look at what happens if you were to save half of your income, okay? You got $100,000, you're saving $50,000 or spending $50,000. That your time in the workforce goes to 16.6. Start this at age 30, you're done at 46.6. How does that sound to you? Oh, great. Got an income of $100,000. That's really tough. Well, let's push it back to 80,000 income. You spend half of that, $40,000. You're saving half of it. You still got 16.6 years. Those numbers are not changing. Half of your income you can get out of there in less than 17 years. If you go really extreme and you're only spending 40,000 of that $100,000, 12.4 years. I'm not kidding, guys. This chart actually works. There are thousands of people who have followed this chart. It works. Now, the assumptions are that you're starting with zero, net worth is zero. You get about a 5% annual return on investments. That's fair. And you're using that 4% withdrawal rates. But that's it. Okay, we can complicate this until the sun comes, until the cows come home, until the sun sets, until the earth rotates another turn around that sun. But it works. It works. Now, this comes from a fellow by the name of Zach. He blogs at a blog called Four Pillar Freedom. He's updated this chart. So again, I'm going to give you this download. You can click on this and you're going to be taken to this chart. His new chart goes all the way up to earning $250,000. Okay, $250,000. And you can take a look at where your income is, where your spending is, find the box to know how many years it's going to take you to reach financial independence. Okay, so that is financial independence the way we have traditionally understood it, very opposite of your conventional advice. Question that I have for you is, what if it's still a heavy lift, and what if you don't want to wait? The pandemic has done so many things for us. It's made us feel that our life is very precious. We're in the middle of the big quit. People are no longer willing to work with employers who don't offer decent benefits, no longer willing to work in a toxic work environment. People have gotten used to remote work and that independence that also gives you independence to live in a lower cost of living area, or hey, maybe even in an RV, right? So what happens if that FI is still a heavy lift? You're looking for something a little different. This is what I believe is happening and is a sign of the future. I believe that instead of financial independence, there's a lot of us who can make our break, maybe not totally, but we can make our break, begin working on our lifestyle, begin making these big changes, begin chasing those dreams at a lower level, a level that I call financial freedom, maybe call it financial independence light. So independence and security, I got really great, succinct mathematical formulas for that, right? Security, you need funds to cover at least 1 year of expenses. So if that 1 year of expenses is $40,000, you got that saved up. Financial independence, we just went through the math. $40,000 times that 25 is the $1,000,000. So those two figures are set. Very easy. What about that middle ground? What happens between the 40,000 and the $1,000,000 saved? What happens in that period? Well, to me, that is a place where you don't have as many money worries. My hope for you is that at that point you have learned how to master your money. You've learned the basics. You've grown confidence in what you're doing with your money. You're still intent on pursuing your dreams. And remember, you are resourceful. So what if you left the workforce early? What if you started taking on some of those dreams at a level that is less than financial independence? Now, the freedom, it's a huge range, right? So it partly depends on your comfort level. It might depend on your job skills and how confident you are that you could return to that employment. It depends on whether you've got some other passive income that you can expect to come in. It depends on your dreams. If your dreams are to leave paid work entirely, you are going to have to move up towards that FI line. If your dreams are to take a year off and travel around the world, that's a smaller lift and you can do it. I don't want you to think I got to work for 20 more years before I have any fun. Maybe that financial freedom is the sweet zone that we've been looking for, where you are valuing your life energy, and you're going after something. So that is my thing. I'm working on a book and putting together a survey. And if this speaks to you, if you are already there, I'd love to talk to you. If you have friends who are in this place where I call it financial independence light. I have lowered the I from independence from a capital letter to smaller case to sort of signify that. Irony, it's not about retiring, it's about this journey. And on this journey, you have the opportunity to reinvent who you are. You're going to be thinking about who you are outside of the workplace. Your identity is no longer tied to the work. It's tied to who you are. What brings you joy? You're reinventing yourself. The E is for explore. You're exploring all the possibilities. Who am I? Who can I be? What can I do? Where do I want to live? What does the world have to offer? How can I give back? You're exploring. So I believe we have the opportunity to create a new FiRE movement. It's about the journey. It's using your journey to financial independence to reinvent yourself and to explore the possibilities. Life is a journey. Your journey on financial independence is going to take you down the path, one that gets you financial freedom in between. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with that precious time in your life? Okay, so that is an overview of FiRE. If you missed this presentation and you've got questions, ask them in the comments. I have no other wish for you than you move into this world where you're in charge of your money, you're going after your dreams, the stress is releasing from your body, you are becoming the person you want to be. And imagine when there's no stress. Pretty impossible to imagine for most of us, but you can get there. You can get there. Okay, this has been, I've given you so much information. I hope that you find it useful. I want you to join us on our next workshop. It's August 24th. We're going to talk about your timeline, all the different factors that go into your timeline on when you can reach your version of financial independence, or maybe it is financial freedom, financial independence light. I hope you can join us then. And everything I've talked about, all the FiRE basics are in my course, Financial Freedom Academy, in our Mighty Network. There is an upcharge for that course, but if you're looking for a little bit of guidance, a plan, and step-by-steps, it's there. Thank you so much for participating. I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks for our next workshop. And hey, got a question, ask them. Participate in this, make this about what you want out of your life. Be unconventional and be gutsy. Bye-bye.